Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Clutch Talk podcast /YouTube/We Do It All. It's Thursday, May 12th. All the series is tied at 3-2. Wow, we are really in full swing of NBA playoff basketball. My brother Jay, how you doing, man? No worries, Jay?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shell shocked from watching that abysmal, disgusting, embarrassing performance from my Golden State Warriors last night. I mean, I was talking to my boy about this. I'm just like, why make the flight? I mean, if you're gonna go back to Game 6, if you're gonna put all the marbles on Game 6, why make the flight? You're gonna put that embarrassing, pathetic effort that you did in Game 5, but that's the beauty of the playoffs. Like all these other series, Jay. You get another chance, especially if it's not a decisive elimination game. You get another chance, another opportunity to right your wrongs in the next game. That's exactly what the Warriors have to do. But there was only one game out of the past 4 games we saw in Game 5 that was close, which was shocking, but shows you the power of home court as well, except for one team.
Man, Jay. Well, look, Jay, we definitely are going to get into that series. We're going to unpack that. And like I always say, Jay, having you, the Dub Nation expert around here, we are going to look for you to tell us what happened, what you saw in that series, Jay. But like how we've been doing for all these episodes, we're just going to unpack all these series and just talk about this. Are you cool with that, Jay?
Always. Get it.
Man, let's get it, Jay. Let's get it. So let's start with the series that we've been starting with for these past episodes, and that's the Celtics and Bucks. Right now, it's tied at. Right now, the Bucks are winning 3-2. Both me and you have Celtics in 7. And Jay, let me open up with this question. You know, they say in the NBA that 82% of the time, the winner of Game 5 ends up moving on and winning the series. The Bucks won Game 5 last night, 110-107. A very impressive performance from Jrue Holiday. Now, Jay, I know both me and you picked the Celtics to win. 82% of the time, the winner of Game 5 goes on, Jay. Are you ready, Jay, to move to switch ships? Are you ready to say the Bucks got this? Or are you still holding that Celtics pride flag down, Jay? Are you still holding it down?
I'm flipping ship. I'm jumping ship. Jumping ship to the Bucks. Number one, I just think that was a huge win last night. The psyche, Boston had that game. They had it close. You know, the missed free throw from Giannis, they didn't box out. Bobby Portis was able to put that back in. I just think the psychological effect, you know, you have the champion on the ropes. Number one, you got to knock out the champion. They're not going to die. They're not going to roll over. You got to knock them out. And that's what Boston had the opportunity to do down the stretch there at home. And to lose a game like that, it's tough to overcome, especially when Milwaukee goes back home, as well as Boston did play throughout stretches of this game. To lose a game like that, I just think it's going to be too much to overcome. And I think Boston could win it in Milwaukee, but it will be tough. And honestly, I'm going to go with I'm jumping ship, and I'm going Milwaukee in 6 to get it done in 6 here. I think they're going to come home and close this thing out back home. What do we talk about this X factor, Jay? We talked about Jrue Holiday. Will he make plays down the stretch? I know, like, he offensively, you know, he has his flashes. Not on. I'm not even talking about box score because, you know, sometimes numbers lie. We know you talk about men lie. You know, Jason said men lie, women lie, numbers don't. But sometimes they do when we're talking about basketball, because you can skew numbers and statistics anyway to fit a certain narrative. But what Jrue Holiday is consistently, to my opinion, Jay, he could be a defensive player year after year. And how ironic was the last 2 defensive plays he made there down the stretch were against the defensive player of the year and Marcus Smart, with the clean block and then the strip to close out the game there in the final seconds of that game, man. A thriller, knocking down big threes. I'm not even mention Giannis hits that big 3, and they just have in my opinion, the 2 best players in their series right now. Number one, we already know it's Giannis, but if Drew Middleton's continue, or Jrue Middleton. Jrue Holiday's continue to be that guy with Chris Middleton up and step up with that. Add in those role players who are going to play better naturally at home. Jay, it's too much to overcome. I'm going Bucks in 6. I'm jumping ship, man.
Wow, Jay.
Boston had their chance.
Jay, first of all, I'm surprised you're switching ships. Second of all, I'm surprised it's not even going 7, Jay. I think it's at least 100% going 7. But Jay, look, I gotta be real, man. Yes, Giannis had another heroic performance last night with that 40-point double shot 40% from the 3-point line, 60% from the field. But to be real with you, Jay, like as we get deeper into playoffs, I find myself less and less trusting those teams that kind of rely on those one-man heroic performance. I think that I think that if the Bucks really want to win this series, but more than anything, be 2-time champions, if they want to go back to back, their shooters got to hit, man. I mean, in Game 5, Grayson Allen had 8 points, only took 2 threes. Wesley Matthews, 9 points. George Hill, 0 points and 2 fouls in 12 minutes. But most of all, I mean, Brook Lopez, Brook Lopez, 2 points, 3 minutes. I know he lost a little bit of his minutes to Bobby Portis there last night. But I think that if the Bucks really want to stand tall, man, I think those players and Brook Lopez need to be there, Jay. And yes, we can trust Giannis. When Brook Lopez is out there, I think we could trust him about 67% of the time. But these shooters in Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton and Wesley Matthews, I don't know if we can trust them, Jay. I don't know if we can trust them. And I think this series might end up going to 7, Jay. And the Celtics are going to take it, Jay. I think the Celtics are going to take it. I'm still going to stay with Celtics on this one, man. Although I would like to point out something that you brought up, Jay, and that's that the fact that the Celtics have to go into Milwaukee now and get that win, where you talk about the importance of role players being able to play at home. So Pat Connaughton, Wesley Matthews, Grayson Allen, all these role players might really step up, Jay. But I mean, great, thrilling series. And I would be remiss, Jay, if I didn't give a quick shout out to Al Horford. Game 4, finished the game with 30 points, Jay. You got to love to see it at the age of 35. He started the fourth quarter with only 13 points, finished the game with 30. So big ups to him, man. But you just got to see, it's kind of hard guarding Giannis, though. So he couldn't do it the next game, scored 8 points the next game.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's give credit where credit's due, too, as well. Al Horford did do his thing. And Jason Tatum, we talked about on last show with Lance, I said that Jason Tatum, the importance of him stepping up. He still had – he played better in Game 4, but last night, 12 from 29 from the field, 41%, 2 from 11 from the three-point line. We talked about them having to knock down shots, specifically him. He's their go-to guy. You're taking 11 3-point attempts. You got to hit more than 2. And then look at, he scored 34 points, but I don't think it was his best performance, and the way that they need him to step up. Jaylen Brown had a solid game, shooting close to 50% from the field and 42% from 3-point line. But they just need more from Jason Tatum. They need him to be the best player on the floor. And can I consistently expect him to do that? No. I think Giannis can consistently be that. Although I will say this about Giannis, man. This dude, if he continues to, yes, I remember there was a stretch where I can't remember who hit a 3 for the Celtics, and then they went back down the next play, and Giannis came down and took a 3. He did hit it, but it's one of those situations. And I remember Steve Van Gundy said that's one of those situations where you go, no, yes, good kind of shot, because I don't know why Giannis continues to settle. As good as he is, as dominant he is, it's hard for me to consistently say a lot of the times, like you said, heroic performances, but he relies too much on his athleticism and kind of his physical strength sometimes, where he could be more of a finesse player or be able to see what the defense is giving him and not settling consistently for threes, because he's shooting it horrifically from the 3-point line. Yes, he did knock some big threes throughout the stretch when they needed it most last night, but I don't think he should continue to settle. That could be a recipe for disaster. But let's give a lot of the reason why he's doing it, Jay. And I think that's a lot to do with defensively. the presence of Grant Williams, man. I think ultimately I look at guys who guard Giannis in the league, and I don't know who's doing it much better than Grant Williams, Mr. Williams, man. He has been doing an extremely great job. You know, he had no points last night, but where he was effective, that's why I said he was a minus 11 throughout the game. Number that shows you an example of why plus minus isn't always the true story. And then another example of why statistics don't always tell the story, because he was getting it done and making Giannis's job a lot harder. You're not stopping Giannis, but you can make his job a lot harder. And that's what Grant Williams has done throughout this series. Maybe it's going to go 7. Maybe it's gonna go 7. Maybe it's gonna go 7. You know what? I'm gonna jump back. Earlier I said I was a little far-fetched, and now hearing myself talk about this, Jay, I'm gonna go Milwaukee in 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Milwaukee in 7. I'm still jumping ship from Boston, but I'm gonna go Milwaukee in 7. Based off what I saw last night. But man, real quick too. Daniel Tice he only had 11 minutes last night, but he was 5 for 5 from the field and hit a big 3 as well. They needed all of his points. They still came up short, but they need all of his points, and they needed him to step up, especially with Robert Williams out. And I think that's a huge factor of why they could potentially lose in Game 6, because Robert Williams, his presence defensively also makes things tougher on Giannis. Because of his paint presence and his ability to protect the rim. So that's another factor that we haven't addressed yet, the presence of Robert Williams.
And I 100% agree, Jay. And that actually leads me
Williams
to
brothers.
The Williams brothers,
Grant and Robert,
over here locking up Giannis. so look, Jay. That actually brings me to a question that I had asked Junior. Shout out my brother Junior. One time on the pod, I think it was this one time he couldn't come, Jay. But I need to get your advice on this, because Junior didn't agree. But Jay, no Chris Middleton. Okay, Giannis was doubted coming into this series. He really is having to carry a lot of this load. I think that this Milwaukee team, at where it's currently at, they're not, at the same roster construction as the Celtics. I think the Celtics are a better team, but the Bucks are getting it done. So Jay, let me ask you this: if Giannis pulls this out, and I mean this series out, Jay, and even if, like, let's say you were right and it does in 6, and he does this in 6. Does he move into like the top 5 of all time, the top 7 of all time? Does he move into, okay, maybe not top 5, because that's a short list and he's still got a lot of a career to go. But let me go top 8 players of all time, because that's impressive. And now we're talking about a 2-time MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year, and I believe he's also got a Most Improved and an NBA champion on his way to become a 2-time champion if he can do it. Jay.
If he gets the title, I would say yes if they win the title.
Okay.
Not for winning an Eastern Conference semifinals.
Okay.
Despite as good as Boston, no disrespect to Boston, but no, if they win the title, yes, I think he has a legitimate case of being in the top 10. I mean, at this point, his accolades, they have what they've done without Middleton. We don't know when he'll come back. But leading this team, a small market team like he has, absolutely. I think he has a legitimate case to be in the top 10, and he has the accolades to back it up if they get a title, if they go on to win the title too.
Man, Jay, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jay. Giannis is making a very good case to be one of those GOATs when it's all said and done, man. Giannis is making a very good case. So, all right, Jay. So then, do you have anything else you want to add onto the series here? Or are you ready to move on to the next one?
I mean, what do you expect this next? Because we talked about a little bit about Game 6. You expect it to be close? Do you think Boston's going to come out and dominate this game, or do you think it's going to be similar to we've seen almost throughout this series, where it's like close 1 possession, 2 possession game? Someone has to make a big free throw, or someone has to get a tip in. And by the way, I do real quick about Game 4. I think Marcus Smart was fouled on that tip in.
That tip in?
I go and say that on that tip in. I think he was fouled. He should have been shooting too. But they've been credit the refs for the most part in this playoffs. We've seen they've been just letting dudes play. They haven't been calling those ticky-tack fouls. They've been consistent most of the time with their block charge calls. So it's physical. We like that. We like to see that.
We like to see the physicality, Jay. But just to answer your question real quick, yeah, absolutely. I think that this game 6 is definitely going to be one of those nail biters. One of those games that you're on the edge of your seat watching, because I think that for the Celtics, they know that, man, if we don't win this, our season is over. Everything that we accomplished, being the best team since January 2022, everything is over. And I don't think Tatum, Brown, and really that whole Celtics team is gonna allow for that to happen, man. But I also think that Giannis and them, they're never the type to lay down. They're never the type to be like, oh, we're up 3-2, let's just take this game easy. Like, no. So I think this is going to be another war. But I think because of my prediction, I think this is going to go a 7-game series. I think the Celtics are going to end up getting this game 6. And then this game 7, I think it's just going to come down to star power, man, star power. And I think with no Chris Middleton and you kind of relying on Giannis' one-man heroics, I think the Celtics might end up coming on top, Jay. I don't know, Jay. How are you feeling about this game 6? Are the Bucks gonna take it, or is it gonna go 7?
I'm gonna go with the Bucks in this one. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I know I said game 7. I'm gonna go with the Bucks in 6. Go with the Bucks in 6. I've been jumping back and forth this whole episode. I'm gonna go Bucks in 6. I'm expecting Giannis to take this lead. I'm expecting the role players to knock down shots in this game. And yes, Boston's gonna make their adjustments. I expect big games from as well, but I just think it's gonna be so much to overcome coming back back in Milwaukee, back in the home of the defending champions, man. So I'm gonna go. We're going in different directions, Jay, but I'm Bucks in 6.
All right, Jay. All right. Well, yeah, this will be one of the another great series. And again, I think I can speak for both of us. The winner of this goes to the NBA Finals for the East, right? We could conclude that.
Yeah.
Especially
okay. Especially with the fact that Middleton's most likely be able to, hopefully for the Bucks, he'll be back by the next series at some point. I see them better than Miami. Their inconsistencies, as well as we don't know if Embiid's going to be able to make it out, and their inconsistencies as well for Philly. Man,
I'm right there with you, Jay. So then let's keep it pushing, Jay, and let's move on to the next series, Jay. I didn't really want to cover this one today with you, Jay, because I didn't want to, awake the beast in you, Jay. But let's go over this Warriors versus Grizzlies series right now. Warriors winning 3-2 in the series. Jay, honestly, just like how I do for all the special fans that come on the show, the floor is yours, Jay. Talk about whatever you want, whether it be the series, whether it be that game 5 performance. Tough game for Warriors fans But just talk to me, Jay. How are you feeling? Everything.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there ain't much to say about this. If I talked about it at the beginning of the episode, I didn't even see discussing performance, especially from the leaders of this team. And Draymond came out, turnovers, throwing the ball all over the place. Defensively, the Warriors are known for their defense, the ability to stop players, and Memphis. Credit to them. They came out ready to go in this one. They knew backs against the wall. They knew they had to come out with some energy and fight. And that's exactly what the team did with this young, hungry Memphis team, what they've seen. And they've been rallying around the fact that we said it all this whole season, the fact that they're not a better team without Ja, but they just play different. They're not reliant on one star, and the ability of other guys to step up in this team is amazing. But on the same token, I don't think it was much of what Memphis was doing, besides the fact that Steven Adams, we'll talk about a little bit about him, how he's changed the series with his rebounding in the last 2 games, which has been huge for Memphis. But aside from that, the Warriors just came out with a lack of focus, with the lack of urgency. They lacked a sense of urgency that this is a closeout game, that they can allow themselves some rest, the opportunity to rest, knowing that for sure that the Phoenix and Dallas series, they got another game to play tonight as we record this, and potentially a game 7. But they didn't do that. They didn't get it done. And they only have themselves to blame. The Warriors only have themselves to blame. I think Steve Kerr, you can't always blame this on coaching, but Steve Kerr, his presence, I think, was felt FaceTiming, on Skype, on Zoom, and being in the locker room in that way, besides being there and actually coaching the game, is different. I was questioning what Mike Brown, looking bad, man, Sacramento fans, but his rotations and things he was doing, kind of question mark, but it wasn't all on Mike Brown. You can't put this down to a 40-point loss to coaching, man. Not much else to say. Warriors didn't come out ready to go. They didn't come out ready to win. Memphis, credit them. They knew the stakes of this game. It was a must-win situation, and they came out. That's why these situations are a little dangerous, man. 3-1 situations can be dangerous for teams because the fact that you have to win. There's no other opportunity. And when you're up, it can be playing with fire as well, because you think that you have, okay, if I don't win this, I have the next game. And all of a sudden you're in a game 7 in Memphis, which you don't want to do with your Golden State. But I do think they're going to be able to regroup. If you're them, I think for the Warriors, I know they fly back to Golden State tonight, to the Bay tonight. And I don't even think this is one that you just throw away the film. You say, you know what you did. You might talk a little bit as a team. I don't think you're going over the film. You came up, got their asses kicked, rightfully so. You weren't ready to play. You thought Memphis was just going to roll over, which didn't happen. But I expect them, they better come out. They've won. The Warriors have won one quarter throughout, two first quarters throughout this whole playoffs. And those 2 were against Denver. So that just goes to show you they've been starting out slow. They've been starting out slow this entire playoffs. And if they do that on tomorrow night, tonight, as this episode comes out, they're in a lot of trouble. So they got to come out tomorrow with a lot of urgency, a sense of urgency, ready to go. And ultimately, I expect them to win game 6, but and big. They better win this big. I think they need to send a message to themselves that they if they lock in and they're consistent, because they've struggled with consistency this whole playoffs, and it's concerning, man. It's extremely concerning. I expect them to get it done in game 6, but last night was absolute embarrassment. I went on a little rant and a little tangent, man, but that's how I'm feeling, man. Embarrassing, Warriors. Embarrassing. Get it together. Draymond, stop podcasting. Play some basketball, man. You've had one good half this whole playoff, this whole series, man. What are you doing, man? You're supposed to be the leader, defensive catalyst, playmaker, and you haven't been getting it done, man. Show me what's up, Draymond. Need to see something from you, dude.
Man, Jay, we love it. We love this speech, and you're 100% on point. Everything you said, Jay. It was a tough game 5 for the Warriors. Like as you mentioned, no one really scoring over 20. But that's not even what I want to point out. You already talked about the game. What I want to point out, Jay, is the fact that we have been over here on Clutch Talk, and I just got to give us some credit here, Jay, because we have been 100% on point for every X factor and key player and key thing we've said. Look, Jay, we said we need more of Jonathan Kuminga. He came in the next 2 games, dominated, and had a great impact. We said we need more of. We said we need the Warriors need to have a reliable Andrew Wiggins, because when they do, they got seriously like a big 4 out there. All the Warriors wins, he's been reliable. All the Warriors lost, he hasn't really been reliable. We talk about the importance of Jordan Poole and him to be consistent. We know he can go for like a 30-piece, but then next day he'll go for like an 8-piece, right? We talked about the importance of him being consistent. The consistent games, he's been there. The Warriors have taken it. The other ones, he is not. We talk about the importance of Otto Porter. Jay, you said it actually. You say Otto Porter Jr. on the minimum, Jay. You say it all the time. This game 5, 0 points, Jay. So, I mean, not only do I want to give ourselves some credit real quick, but I don't know if Steve Kerr, I don't know if maybe if Draymond listens to so many podcasts, maybe he come listen to ours and put some of these implement some of these things, Jay, because we've been right on point, Jay. But ultimately, Jay, you said everything best. I still do have the Warriors taking this series, although like how you mentioned though, Jay, I do think they need Draymond Green is going to be a big factor, and he's definitely got to step up. Not even as far as like offensive and scoring, like the Warriors don't even need that from him. But even as far as like boxing out, I mean, the Grizzlies got 18 offensive rebounds to the Warriors 4. The Steven Adams, Brendan Clark, they just been making it tough for the Warriors down there, man. So I just think that ultimately the Warriors need to just keep playing the course. I love what you said, Jay, about saying there's know what you did wrong and then throw the film away. Throw the film away. It's a very uncharacteristic night for Curry, Clay, Poole, all these explosive scores to not even score more than 20. So understand it was an uncharacteristic night, embarrassment. Take it from what it is, move on, and get ready. But just real quick, Jay, I want to ask you a question, Jay, because I asked you the question about the game 5, 82%. Jay, so even though this time, they say game winner game 5, 82% of the time moves on. Grizzlies won that game 5. You're still confident, right? You're still and not even just because it's your team, but you're just still confident that the Warriors are going to take them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm concerned also though, because we didn't even mention Otto Porter Jr. did leave that game with foot soreness at the end of the second half of the first half there. That's concerning for an already undersized team who relies on him as their veteran presence. A guy who's been phenomenal throughout these playoffs in his rebounding, his presence, and knocks down some shots in there in game 4 at home. But I think they extremely need Otto Porter. If not, other guys are going to step up. JTA, maybe Jonathan Kuminga. I will say this, although he did show flashes, they didn't need him, Jay. I just think a little too much. I think it's a little too early for the dude. Last night he looked lost in those first few minutes of that game, and I think they're gonna. I expect for them in Game 6 to move him out of the starting lineup. I'm not sure how many minutes we'll see from him because he just looked lost in terms of offensively and defensively to their schemes, and it's not a lot on him. He didn't. Number one, he wasn't in. He was in and out of the lineups and the rotations throughout the season, and to expect a player and a young player, a rookie, to step in like that who hasn't had that experience throughout the season is tough to rely on that, which is another reason why bending the front office and their decision to mix the young generation and develop those guys with the championship window of the Warriors with Steph, Clay, and Dre. Is it backfiring? Is it gonna work? I don't know. We'll see, but it's definitely concerning that effort in a closeout game like that, because we have to remember with this team, yes, Steph, Clay, and Dre, 3-time champions, have been to the finals for 5 straight years previously from 2015 to 2019. But the fact doesn't change that the rest of the guys, Andrew Wiggins, never been in a playoffs before and a meaningful playoff series before, playoff run. Jordan Poole, never been there. Kevon Looney, they rely on him more than ever. Yes, he's been to the playoffs, but not at this capacity where he's starting, where he's in the rotation significantly. He hasn't been in a playoffs like this. And then Otto Porter, you go down the line, those guys haven't been there. So you need those guys to step up. And you're relying on a lot of weight than they've ever felt before. So, yes, I expect them to get it done, Jay, in 6. But man, the worst case scenario, they're going back Game 7. I still expect Golden State to get it done if they do, because they have that they have the best player in the series, in Steph, and then they have the experience as well of those 3 players who've been there. But I think that would be the worst case scenario to go back to that young, gritty grindhouse there in Memphis in a Game 7. But I expect them to get it done in 6, although it is concerning.
I'm right there with you, Jay. And I mean, just like really kind of more of the last thing I want to touch on with the Grizzlies is, and I'm going to pull this up. And again, this is why people on the YouTube, you guys get a special side of things. That's why I love the podcast, people. But make sure you come subscribe and check us out on YouTube, because I'm gonna have something pulled up here on the screen, Jay. And that's just Grizzlies with Ja, right? So I'm gonna read it off to you right here, Jay. With Ja, they're 41-24. Without Ja, they're 21-6. They are 20-17 with Ja. 10-5 without Ja. This is their win-loss versus the playoffs. Points per game: 114 points per game with Ja, 117 points per game without Ja. Opponents points per game: they allow 112 points per game with Ja and 103 without Ja. And opponents differences: they're plus 2.5 with Ja, and then a plus 13.9 without Ja. Yes, you said it actually, Jay, all season. Yes, we're not saying trade Ja Morant, but we're just saying this Grizzlies team has a whole nother layer, dog, that's really impressive. They got that fight in them, they got that grit. They play better defense when he's not out there, to be real, man. Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah. That's what it is. A lot of it's defensively. Yes, they struggle. Maybe get down the stretch, and we saw that in Game 4, down the stretch, that reliable scorer to go to, that's normally Ja, and they struggled. We just saw Dylan Brooks being forced, looking like Kobe with minus the shot, and then Jaren Jackson, they relied on him to take shots and make plays down the stretch there, and it ended up failing because their offense stalled out. But defensively, they're much more stout. Their point of attack defense is so much better without Ja. And I think it's also maybe a reason to why Jordan Poole has been struggling a bit, because normally, and the rest of the Warriors, their game plan is with Ja, offensively and defensively. And with him out of the lineup, it's a little adjustment that they need to make. And they didn't really make it in the past 2 games, obviously evident in Game 5, but as well as Game 4, where they trailed majority of the game until the closing minutes and seconds of that game. So the Warriors have played one good game this whole series, maybe about 2.5, 3 quarters, because the first quarter of game 3, they didn't play well either. So this is going to be one of those things for the Grizzlies and the Warriors. How can they attack this Grizzlies team without Ja? Who they were normally looking for Jordan Poole, looking for that matchup. Steph looking for the matchup, getting switched on to Ja, and now they have to find a different way to score, and that we'll see what adjustment they make in Game 6. And Draymond, man, needs to be. You said they don't rely on his offense. He needs to look at the basket, because right now, it's looking like it's playing 4-on-5, because the Grizzlies defense is paying no attention to him, because he's not even looking at the basket when he gets the ball, man. And that can't happen. He's got to look to be more aggressive.
Yeah, Jay, Draymond definitely got to be there, and some of these just the vets, man, just the vets, and Curry, Clay, and Draymond got to step up, Jay. You said it best, man. But all right, Jason, let's keep it pushing, and let's get to the next series, Jay, and that is the Suns versus Mavs. And this is another series tied at 3-2. You originally had Suns in 6. I had Suns in 5. That one's out the window now. Jay, 82% of the time, winner of Game 5 goes on to win the series. We both had the Suns winning the series already. They won in dominant fashion in Game 5, 110-80. Jay, today is Thursday, May 12th. It's 9 a.m. over here in the West Coast. Is this series over tonight, Jay? Is it going to be over tonight, or do the Mavs get one?
I think Phoenix is going to get it done tonight. I think they're going to be able to close it out in Dallas. Despite it being, it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a close game. We're not going to see a blowout on this one, but I think in order for Dallas to make it close, we saw the usage for Luka jump up in game 5, but they need other guys to step up. If Dallas wants any chance of winning this game, Jalen Brunson's going to need to knock down more shots. He's going to need to get more of a usage. The other role players, Reggie Bullock, other guys are needing to step up. But I look at Phoenix, they played extremely well. Number one, the big man, DeAndre Ayton, played extremely solid in game 5. Devin Booker stepped up. But where I will say, it looks to me like CP3 is getting a little tired, man. And I notice that every single time for Dallas, and to their credit, they are attacking him. They're putting him in isolation. They're going at him and making him work. We saw Luka, and if you, for those of us that don't follow us on Instagram, we posted a little reel of Luka just going to work on CP3 as well as TikTok, I might add. And that just goes to show you that they're making him work. He's 37, and rightfully so, man. And I think that's going to wear on them. And is why I'm concerned about Phoenix, as well as for the next round, because if he has to work, they didn't expect this series to go 6. They didn't expect the first series against New Orleans to go 6. We both thought that was going to be a sweep. So there's a lot of mileage on the Phoenix Suns. Although I think they're going to get it done in game 6 tonight, I'm expecting a much better showing and a motivated and hungry Dallas Maverick team tonight at home. So I expect this one to be close. There is a chance that Dallas wins this game, but it's going to take a concerted, conscious effort if they want it to go 7. But I do see Phoenix getting it done tonight. But if it goes 7, they're going to get it done in game 7 as well.
Yeah, Jay, I'm right there with you on that. The Suns are going to get it done in 6. They're going to get it done tonight. And I mean, to be real with you, I've said it before on this podcast. I just think the Suns are just a better team. They're not a good matchup for the Mavs because I mean they're deeper, they're more dependable. They can really guard Luke. They can really guard their best players with. I'm not going to say everyone on the court because, like how you said, CP3 was out there getting hunted. Just there's no way he's not feeling those Luka big blows to the stomach every single time. Like there's no way he's not waking up the next day with some chest pains. Like that's gotta hurt, man. But more than anything, Jay, I think that the Suns are gonna put them out because if the Suns can live with Jalen Brunson and Luka going off for 20 plus, and they still can get the win. And I think if you allow Luka and Brunson to go off, for 20 plus, go ahead, do your thing, and you still are able to get the win, that just shows you that the Mavs just don't have enough. Nobody else is reliable enough. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie's where is Spencer Dinwiddie? It looked like he got like eaten up by the Monstars, like from Space Jams. Maxi Kleber can't really keep up with Aiden for the long haul in the series. Bullock is just extremely inconsistent. So I mean, if that's what the equation is, if Luka and Brunson get off and Suns still win, I don't think the Mavs really got a chance here. But I don't want to disrespect them though, because they did get. I didn't expect it to even get here. I expected it to 5. I know you called 6, Jay, but it's going to take some real Luka magic and some real stepping up from these other players for it to force a game 7 here.
But it can be done. It can be done from Luka. He's that caliber player that he can take over a series, he can take over a game. And we saw Devin Booker at the end of the game poking the bear, talking a little jazz. And what I have heard, and I heard Draymond talking about it, about Devin Booker. He's one of the biggest trash talkers in the league, man. He can poke the bear, and I know Luka
is a bear
for as knowing as he is, man. As I think he is, he's a serious competitor, and with the motivation and the fuel of this Dallas team, Dallas home crowd, they're going to be motivated and ready to go tonight. So expect a different Dallas energy and Dallas tenacity tonight from this squad and in this game.
Man, for sure, Jay, for sure. So before we move on to this last series, Jay, is there anything you want to add to this Mavs and Suns series? Are you ready to talk about the should have been MVP?
Should have been MVP. In his eyes, certainly didn't play like it on Tuesday though. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a close game tonight. I think it's gonna be within, when I say close, I think within 6 points. I don't expect this to be a double-digit win for Phoenix. I think Dallas is gonna make it close. They're gonna be be able to stay in this game. But it's going to be ultimately come down to Devin Booker and CP3 making plays. I think Devin Booker actually needs to make these plays and close this series out for this Suns team.
Facts, Jay. I'm right there with you, man. Devin Booker got to be that closer, Jay. So let's keep it pushing, Jay, and let's get to this last series. Another series tied at 3-2. That's Heat versus 76ers. The Heat are leading right now. Both me and you had Heat in 5 because we didn't expect Joel Embiid to resurrect from the dead and play like this. But Jay, 82. I've been saying it 82% of the time. Winner of Game 5 goes on to win the series. The Heat won in dominant fashion. You're confident. You're still sticking on, even though the should have been MVP Joel Embiid is back on the court. Are you still confident on that Heat choice?
I'm still confident on that Heat choice. Unfortunately, I think it's just a lot of. I expected a motivated and hungry Embiid to be honest on Tuesday, and a lot of the adversity in life in general, being a player, a lot of certain players and certain people just react to things that don't go their way differently. Sometimes a big performance, shove it in their face. I should have been MVP, or some sulk, don't make plays, are big babies about it. And that's what we saw from Joel Embiid. He didn't come ready to play. It seemed like he was kind of moping around. He thought I should have been MVP, and he didn't play like he should have been MVP ultimately. I thought the Sixers team, Harden included, he had a big Game 5. He had a big Game 4 to even up this series. And then he just kind of looks like he was listening to all the praisers and the media and saying that he's back, he's this, he's that. And he just kind of expected the same thing to happen and that performance to be replicated. And it was almost the exact opposite. So I'm surprised ultimately with the effort that Philly put out. But then again, I'm not surprised because of Joel Embiid. And oftentimes a team and an energy reflects your leader. What your leader, the effort that he is putting out trickles all the way down to the last guy on your roster. And their leader, their guy, the dude, their MVP in their eyes didn't come out ready to play. Let's call it what it is. He was moping, sulking around, and being a big baby, and it reflected poorly and trickled down to the rest of the roster. And Philly wasn't ready to play, and the results showed themselves. They got dominated and run off the floor in Miami.
Sorry about that, Jay. A little technical difficulties there. But like I was saying, Jay, I just think that if the 76ers move on and DeAndre Jordan or Paul Reed have to be out there for any second of any game against the Celtics or the Bucks, I just think it's going to be a sweep. It's not going to be fun. So I would just rather say the Heat move on, man. Make sure the better team moves on. But Jay, this is just a little, I guess, like a little sidebar. Not even necessarily having to talk about the series, but I think that Jay, like I was watching this Heat series. I think that the Heat are going to sign Donovan Mitchell in the offseason, Jay. They're going to somehow get away to get Donovan Mitchell. And that team, if they get Donovan Mitchell, Jay, it's over. I think it's over, Jay. They're going to win the next couple of championships, especially if they somehow figure out a way to keep Victor Oladipo and bring Donovan Mitchell. That would be insane. That's just a little sidebar. I just had a thought and wrote that down on the script. Just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, no, I think it would be they bring in Donovan Mitchell. That's great. Wild, man. We won't get into offseason talks just yet, but man, that would be amazing. And I also think for Philly, for Miami, he is from Philly, Kyle Lowry, and what they brought in, Pat Riley. We've seen he hasn't been able to stay healthy for majority of the season, but especially now. I think he might be out with hamstring in Game 6 tonight. But Pat Riley took a gamble to give away Precious Achiuwa, who's been showing flashes there in Toronto. And I think if you're Pat Riley, you might be, scratching your head a little bit and saying it might have been a mistake. But at the same token, he's not the one. He takes his gambles. He goes after players that he thinks can help the Heat win and add to their culture. And Lowry is a culture guy, and he is a great fit for that Heat culture. But I also just thought I'd add that little piece that maybe Toronto won that trade. I don't know, man, just for the future. But they knew that going in. They knew it was a win now move. So
absolutely. And then Jay, this is just my last question to you as far as this whole Sixers series, Jay, and then just revolving that. But Jay, have we seen the best times of Harden? Have we seen Harden? Is this it? Is this it? Does he get any better than this? Like we seen what he did when he was on the Rockets, when he was on Thunder, all that, when he was 2-time MVP, and now just not the same player. Have we seen all of Harden, Jay, or is there more of Harden that we got to see?
I would say if I was a betting man and I was betting on this, I would say there's like a 70-80% chance that we've seen the Harden as good as he's going to get. Mm-hmm. At this point, as it shows, his decline in health, unfortunately, his ability to his separation has decreased. The way that the foul baiting, that's been mitigated in a sense by the NBA and the rule changes as well. So the adjustment that he's had to make from that and all that being considered, I think, it'd be safe to say we've seen the best of Harden, and it's only going to plateau and stay the same, or we can start to see a decrease. And we saw a big decrease in the past year and a half, especially injuries, like I said, being a part of that. So what about you? How you feeling about that?
I'm right there with you, Jay. Yeah, I think this is we've seen the best of Harden. He's I think 32 or about to turn 33 soon. So the way his game is predicated is it's speed, man. It's that fouls, and he's not getting the fouls anymore. He's just not as quick he's just not as quick anymore. He can't create that separation. I think that this is it. You know, we've seen Harden at his best, and I was actually showing my girl when Harden got fat, and I actually thought to myself, like, you know, the way he didn't take care of his body, like, probably kind of huge. There's no way he didn't have an impact on this. Like, there was 2 times that he went from I'm in shape to I'm out of shape to now I get back in shape. He did it in Houston when he had the whole problem with Daryl Morey and all them. And then he was in shape and then he had a problem. Then he fell out of shape and then he had to get back in shape so Houston could trade him. And then he did it in Brooklyn, bro. That's 2 times that he did it. And there's just no way, like, he's letting his body go, then bringing it back. And I'm sure he's working hard to get in shape. And it catches up to you. I'm sure he's like, you know, running on the track to get in shape and doing his thing. And, you know, salute to him. But man, like, you're not 21 anymore. You can't just, you know, work, you know, go do whatever you want and then work it out. Like, it's catching up to you. You said it best, Jay. I think it's over for Harden, Jay. It's over, man.
I hope
I hope it is.
I hope he proves us wrong, but man, it ain't looking too good.
Man. All right, Jay. Well, look, Jay, I mean, we covered all of these series, went in depth with it, talked about some X factors, keys, and all of that. Before we hop off here, Jay, and see these crazy game 6s tonight, Jay, do you got any last words to say here before we hop off?
It's going to be a wild 4 games in game 6s. We got 2 tonight with Miami and Philly, and then Phoenix and Dallas, and then tomorrow night that Milwaukee and that Boston series, and then Memphis, Golden State. Bounce back series or bounce back games for all of these teams. So
yeah.
It's getting to the nitty gritty, man. Game 6s and 7s of series are always intense. They're always come down to possession after possession. Every possession is meaningful. Another reason why you can't turn over the ball, Warriors. You gotta every possession, every shot matters. So all these teams have to make a concerted effort to take care of the ball, or you're putting yourself in a terrible position. And a position to lose ultimately. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Nothing beats the intensity of a game 6, game 7 of this conference semifinals, man, or finals, Western Conference finals.
Just playoffs, Jay, huh? Playoffs, man. I be telling people, I don't know how, like, people don't watch NBA playoff basketball. Like, okay, I get it. You know, we don't watch in the regular season, but come on, man. This is what we live for, man. But Jay, you said it best, man. This is going to be a great series, big bounce back game for all these teams. And I'm looking forward to it, Jay. So for all the fans, for all the family out there, man, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on our Instagram, our Twitter, and our TikTok. It's at Clutch Talk Pod. Make sure you go check us out for Apple Podcasts and all that. Make sure you leave us a review. Spotify, leave us a review, leave us a ranking. Let us know what you guys want to hear, man. In the comments, let us know something. And just stay tuned, man, because me and Jay, we've been consistent with this playoff coverage, man. We're gonna keep being consistent with it. So just stay tuned, man. And I ain't got no more words, man. So that's it. We out of here, y'all. Clutch Talk out.
Peace.